What's going on?
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts feeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll still be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll still be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.
Hey guys, what's up? Good evening and welcome to our live broadcast here on Dead Air Full Spectrum. Thank you for joining us here on the channel on our Sunday night show. Our very special guest, Brandie Wells, will be joining us here in just a few minutes. My name is George Lopez. With me, as always, Mr. Ken DaCosta, and I am so thrilled to see you guys. Only less than 2.5 weeks left in this year. I can't believe how quickly it's gone by. So we get to say bye bye, and hopefully the next year will do better for us. But how you doing tonight, Ken?
We're doing well. We're, kind of a bittersweet night. And right off the top, I think it's important to say before we begin the episode tonight, we want to just take a moment to acknowledge a tragic shooting at Brown University. And our hearts go out to the victims, their families, and the entire Brown community during this incredibly painful time. Um, we're reminded moments like this how fragile life is, and compassion, connection, and care for each other are truly important. So hold space in your hearts for those affected and check in on the people around you. Thank you for taking this moment with us. As you both know, as everybody knows out there, I'm in Rhode Island. I'm from Rhode Island. So this is profound to me, like it is, I'm sure, to everybody across the country. And the sad part about it is um, when we are doing a show, we hope to bring you some entertainment, some humor, some great guests, some good topics and conversations. But far too often, we have to start off with something like this. So just hold everybody in your hearts here. And for the next hour or so, we'll do our best to, move things forward a little bit. But the real world intrudes once again, and it gets tiring and heart wrenching to have to, acknowledge these things. But I just wanted to take a moment to just pass along our thoughts.
Yeah, and I've had the privilege of walking the streets through Providence and getting close to the university, and I can honestly say again, it's a close knit community, very, very small city, Providence. So somebody knows somebody, I'm sure, that is part of this tragedy. And as Ken so beautifully articulated. We all try to keep ourselves distracted from the real world, but sometimes the real world intrudes. And when it hits so close to home as something like that, um, you just kind of have to step back and again gain perspective about everything and everyone around us,
Hmm.
because in a moment's notice, just it could be no longer there. So, again, I can only imagine, and thank God it's only imagination of what these families are now dealing with this close to the holidays. So, I hope again that our words give you some some sort of peace, but I don't even know how to fathom that, Ken.
No, it's beyond words. Making sense of things that don't make sense is not an easy thing to do. But we, all of us here at Dead Air, our entire Dead Air family sends their thoughts and prayers along to everyone who was affected by this. Um, so we have a show to do tonight, and
Yes.
we have we have a wonderful guest. I haven't seen her in a number of years, and I was so happy when she reached out, and couldn't wait to have her.
Yeah. Well, I think, you think you said something like it's been 8 years since you saw her. So that would now make her 28, which is wonderful. But yeah, we're thrilled to have her on. Ken, go ahead and do with the honors, sir.
Sure. Tonight we're joined by Brandie Wells, a psychic medium known for her grounded, evidential approach to spirit communication. Her work focuses on clear validation, ethical boundaries, and helping people understand what may exist beyond the physical world without sensationalism. She spent years exploring how intuition, energy, and consciousness intersect. And tonight she's here to share what really happens when the veil feels thin. So, Brandie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I was excited to connect. And I love 28. I turned 50 yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
Lies, all lies.
I know. I
Good to
can't
see you.
believe it. Half a century old.
I'm 28, but I'm 50 in psychic years.
Well, it's great. I'm glad you reached out to us. So this will be fun tonight, and we want to remind everybody if you have questions for Brandy, and I'm sure you will, get those into the chat room, and at an appropriate time, we'll put them up there and let her address them. So I am very much looking forward to this tonight.
Yes.
Brandy is
Keep in
very well
mind,
regarded in
well,
the.
as you ask Brandy questions, it will be 99 cents per minute. Just to be
Right.
aware of that.
Got to pay the bills.
All right, let me step out of here, Ken. I leave you with Brandy, and I will see you back here in a little bit.
All right. Thank you, George. All right, Brandy, here we go. The interrogation begins. So there are different types of mediumship, and I mean, you emphasize evidential mediumship rather than just vague impressions. So what does evidence actually look like? And I'll do the air quotes evidence, not that I'm putting it aside, but this is what it's called. What does evidence look like during a reading, and how do you know when that evidential information comes when it's strong enough to trust?
It's interesting, Ken. I just got done with a 2-hour spirit gallery. So
Oh,
that's
there you go.
why I was kind of trying to come down a little bit. I just presented in front of a group of about 30 people. And evidential mediumship is proof of life after death. So we are proving these connections, things that can't be Googled or, researched online. I can't tell you how many people book with me with the name, John Smith, or I
Right.
think everyone comes in a skeptic until they experience evidential mediumship. And I would say my goal when reading someone is to identify spirit stepping forward then to prove that this is their loved one. I'm going to give you an example. This was just a really interesting interaction that just happened in the group that I was presenting for. I had a young lady, her grandfather came forward on her mother's side. So the mother's side is the left side. The right side is your father's side. And so when I look at someone and they have a loved one come forward, they'll come forward on their mother or father's side. Sometimes we even have people who will, act that part in our life. So, a grandfather that was more like a father, or, so there are a lot of complexities in life and relationships. But this young lady had a grandfather coming forward. And as soon as I connected to him, I could see how tall he was. I felt his body and what he was experiencing in the physical body before passing, what was going on with him physically. And then all of a sudden, I had a sharp pain in my left eye. And I felt as if I couldn't see out of my left eye. And I'm telling her about this as I'm connecting, and her mouth starts dropping to the floor. And I said, I feel there was either, an injury or something happened to the left eye. And she said, when my grandfather was 4 years old, he actually had gotten stabbed in the eye, and it permanently damaged his left eye for his entire life. And it was by walking into something. And it was as a child, but it permanently damaged his left eye. So, that is proof that this was her grandfather. And that is evidential mediumship. It's evidence.
Yeah.
That's my goal, is to find that thing,
Right.
It's just telling that this is real.
Well, I think what mediums do in terms of, investigations and researching cases we take on is that you can bring emotional content to it where, I can certainly look up names, dates, and as much information as possible. But the thing is, you get to know how people feel, how people think, what they were doing, and a little bit deeper version of them. How difficult is it for a medium to put aside their own impressions, emotions, feelings, and put all that aside to be able to open up that space
Mm,
for someone else's to come through? Because I mean, we're all human beings, good days, bad days. You got your own thing. If you're in a place, you've got your own impressions of that place. You're reading the room. You're like everything that we do, when you're off duty, so to speak.
mm.
Um, so, how difficult is it, or is it for you now to just kind of put that aside and pay attention to what's coming at you?
I feel over time my skills have strengthened. Everyone is intuitive. Everyone has the ability to connect to their higher selves, to their angels, their guides, their loved ones. But just like anything you practice, the more you do it, the better you become. And I really see that as a muscle. I really just learned what works for me in my intuitive connections. And I teach as well. And I enjoy teaching because my methods are all my own. It's nothing I've learned. It's all been, I used to say that I was self taught, but I believe I was spirit taught.
Hmm.
And I only open myself to spirit in a sacred space. So I create the space of being grounded, clear, open to spirit. And then I allow the channeling. I didn't used to have that ability. I used to be open all the time. It was exhausting. I'm an empath, so I feel everything. And I was exhausted all the time because I was open and I didn't know how to control it. Now, when I channel and it is with intention, spirit is utilizing me, the medium, the
Yeah.
person between heaven and earth, to bring message. So I feel over time it's a skill that I've developed, and I can turn it on and off very quickly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How do you protect when you're doing a reading or someone comes to you one on one? How do you protect a sitter emotionally when spirit communication crosses into trauma, grief, unresolved issues, because you're getting these things. So, how do you approach them? Because I know there's no one size fits all. I understand that. But how do you protect them from what they may be close to experiencing when you tell them what you're receiving?
I feel that all information is not, it is my interpretation, but it is information from my sitter. So when I'm connecting to someone's loved one, their loved one is not with me, they're with them.
Hmm.
So if I were to read you, Ken, I wouldn't be receiving anything that was not meant to be heard and understood if it did not come through you. So
Hmm.
that's why it's important when someone comes to me and they're, oh, I'm a skeptic. I don't believe. I'm not sure about this. And I always tell people, you will only receive what you're open to receiving. So
Right.
I feel that people will only receive what is meant for them in the highest good. So that is the protection, is that your higher self knows, your angels, your guides, it's all being set up for them, through them, for me to utilize that information and to help bring healing.
Yeah. How do you set that up though now? It's because clearly this individual comes to you. So they've signed up for this.
Yeah.
This is kind of what they want. Is it a case of you explain to them, just like you explained to me, that this is what may be ahead,
Mm,
how to prepare yourself emotionally, because this is what you're here for. And I would imagine most stories have happy endings. Some may not, Brandy.
no, they don't. They don't all have happy endings. I mean, I have mothers who've lost their children to suicide. I have,
Mhm.
it's unthinkable what we go through as humans. It's painful. So it's not always, a happy ending, but the peace that we find in knowing that our loved ones never leave us, that heaven is not far away.
Mhm.
There's so much peace in that. For some reason, when you were just speaking, it brought me to this experience that I had a few months ago, because you said, when someone comes to you, they're signing up for this. And I instantly heard, oh, but this guy did not sign up for this. But it was a really interesting reading because his wife dragged him. I do a lot of open forum spirit galleries.
Oh yeah.
And this wife brought her husband, and I started channeling, and this man, he's he wanted to sit way in the back so he wouldn't get called. And I don't care where you are in a room, spirit knows who needs message and who doesn't. The front row is not, it's not the ideal seating,
Try to
honestly.
make yourself small. No.
Yeah. And it was just really interesting because I started channeling, and I heard this woman come in. It was a grandmother, and she was talking about how her grandson, she is the one who saved him. That he was in this horrific car accident, and it was life altering. Nobody knows how he would have survived this. I mean, it was being described to me like what the accident was, how it happened. And this guy, he just keeps shrinking more and more in his seat, and his wife's elbowing him. And I said, I know it's coming from over in this corner. And, she starts doing this. And he said, ma'am, I think that's for me. And I
Mhm.
started opening up, and, he did not think he signed up for that day, but the information that came through, he had been in a car accident. He almost died. He was in a coma for 4 months from this accident. Nobody knows how he survived. His grandmother had just passed away about a month before. And she was telling me that like part of her passing was that she was meant to save him. Like he still had a higher purpose, even if it was hard for him to heal from this. And uh,
Sure.
but it was just fascinating. And he's like, and he was, I kept saying that he serves the community, and that's why he has more work to do. He serves the community. I kept hearing that. And he said, I'm a firefighter. I can't believe this. I can't believe my grandmother had just passed, and I saw her when I passed, when I went into a near-death experience, and he came back and he saw his grandmother, and then he came back, and like the whole thing, it was just fascinating. But he didn't sign up for that, so not everybody signs up for it.
Yeah.
But everybody receives what they need.
How
That's
many events have you and I probably done in years past and currently that someone dragged someone to that event,
I know.
and it may start off the, but yeah, I have instances too where they experience something and it's just kind of like, there you go. Um, what's the very first sign that you get when a spirit has come through for you? Is it physical? Is it emotional? Is it like an altering of your consciousness in your process? What's the first sign? It's like, yeah, here they come.
I just felt it when you said it. It was so interesting. I will all of a sudden feel like I need to take a deep breath, as if spirit stepped in. And
Hmm.
so all of a sudden my breath will change. And spirit always confirms the truth that I'm sharing with chills, and I will feel the chills on the left side if it's a female coming in, or a right side if it's a male coming through.
Hmm.
And that's when I know I've made the connection.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I talk to a lot of people, they have different perspectives on that. Some describe it as music in a car. You can hear coming and then it passes you at 60. It gets louder, then they hear snippets, and then eventually it fades away. So you grab whatever you can.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is like this is a fun thing that Spirit asked me to share with people.
Hmm.
Mediumship is similar to being given a 1,000-piece puzzle with no image on the front. And it's your job to match all the pieces up and create the image without that.
It's not easy.
And that is, because I don't, it's very rare. Once in a while I do see a full apparition, but most times
Mm.
it's all the bits and pieces of what makes someone who they are. Like maybe I'd see their facial hair and I start, doing this when I'm channeling, or, I all of a sudden I won't feel well, or I'll feel faint, or, and they will bring the feelings, and it's as if they're stepping in,
Hmm.
but it's bits and pieces.
Because I haven't seen you in so long, I'm going to ask you a question that I don't think I've ever asked a medium before. Um, do people communicate differently
Mm.
based on the amount of time that they have passed on? Is there, or is like time irrelevant on the other side and it doesn't matter? In other words, I've been past, I don't have to mansplain this to you. I've passed away 150 years ago as opposed to I passed away 10 years ago. I know vernacular is different. I know what a recorder is and they don't. But they communicate in different ways depending on how long they've been on.
I am fascinated you're asking this. This is why I'm like laughing to myself. I just barely, in this group experience I had, it was a woman who lost her mother, and her daughter was there. So this was her grandmother. And I started channeling for them. Mom came through, and she was a very calm, grounded woman. I kept feeling like I couldn't breathe deeply. I felt like I was having a hard time, like I couldn't lift my arms. And I was feeling very emotional as I connected to her. And not just because of the emotion of those I was connecting with, I was also feeling it from mom. And it felt so raw and current, like as if they haven't fully processed this yet. And I received the messages that were coming through, validating information about what's going on in life, and her reassuring them that that she really was okay. It wasn't an easy end of life. I was getting something with the nervous system, and so I said, this feels so recent because it felt so raw and on the surface. And she just passed November 4th of MS. I mean, that's, a different feel, a different flavor when connecting to someone, when there's that. I mean, I felt the processing of emotions they were going through. So it will feel, I call it on the surface. It feels more on the surface when it's more recent. But I'm not a medium that says, you really should wait. I don't know. I hear all different things from other people, like 6 months, or you should wait. I connect to the living just as equally as those in spirit. So I channel for people every day for their son that's living that they're worried about because he's having health issues, or if it's energy, I connect as a clairvoyant. So it doesn't matter if someone's even in transition. Like if they passed, I had a woman come to me last week and her mom, she just happened to book the appointment and her mom passed the day before.
Right.
And I was communicating with her mom as she was transcending. And it's not negative or bad. Her mom was saying like, it's beautiful. She kept telling me how beautiful it was. So time for me as a medium doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but it does feel different when it's
Yeah.
recent.
I mean, I believe dimensionally spirits are around us. So they're a place like we go into a place for the first time, or maybe no one has ever reached out to communicate. And for the first time on their journey, whatever their new form is, transition, wow, somebody can hear me. Wow, I can speak through somebody. I can give that must be, lack of a better word, pretty exciting if you're on the other side, because there's so many things maybe you want to communicate and say. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
this is awesome. But I would imagine that door swings both ways. You get messages, so I'm assuming that you're also asked questions by the spirit world.
Yes.
Are there any questions that maybe you're hesitant to answer for them? Are there ever any kind of those things, or is everything just on the table?
Well, I also want to explain that when I'm in open forum group experiences, I am truly just channeling
Mm.
and allowing spirit to work through me, puppet me, as I say. But when I'm in one-on-one, I'm in my office right now, and when I'm in one-on-one sessions, I do this. It's channeled automatic writing. And
Uh,
it's a far different experience. That used to be the only way I would communicate with spirit.
mhm.
And I had to wean myself, almost like, coming off a pacifier or something,
Right.
because I didn't believe in my power as a medium. This is about 5 years ago. And I thought this is the only way I can accurately hear. It was my divination. And so I will slow down to channel through automatic writing when I am having an in-depth or one-on-one experience with someone. And that's where sometimes, questions, it really opens the channel both directions.
You're right.
One thing that's off limits for me, but it's more moral, ethical, is I will never discuss how someone is going to die, when they're going to die. I've done more healing for unethical readers than, and when I say I'm, um, I have had many people who come to me that went to a reader that is not authentic. And it's really awful what's out there.
Mhm. Yeah.
People get duped all the time.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not talking about someone who's trying their best and just not this. I'm talking about, I had a client come to me years ago who um, went to a reader. Her daughter had died of a drug overdose, and the reader told her that her daughter was trapped in hell and she needed to pay her $666 to get out of hell,
Hmm.
so she could, help her soul heal. And that was mortifying to me as a reader, and that stuff happens. So, I won't just, I mean, when it comes to moral, ethical stuff, I would say, how someone dies. I don't get into. I am a practicing witch, but I also believe in God. I work in the light. So working in the light and being authentic and being of service to spirit, it's so important to me. So it's a lot of it's just intuitive, like what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah.
Our moral compass.
One town over from me, $250,000 this elderly woman paid. Um, Almost the same thing. It was something about her daughter. But she ended up getting bedspreads and paintings and whatever this woman had in the house that she would just, gift her,
Ugh.
donate. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
When that happens, I don't charge people. What I have worked incredibly hard to be where I am, and I have no shame. And like, this is the work that I do, and I take it very seriously.
Mhm.
And I'm a professional in what I do. But there are times when spirit calls me to help someone heal. It's not all about money. And so when someone gets greedy or goes against that moral, ethical, it just is so upsetting to me.
Well, in terms of paranormal investigation, and it's not like we are the last word in everything. I would never paint ourselves that way because, everything is a work in progress, but we call it clean up in aisle 6 when we're called by someone who has 17 demons in their house and everybody, so their anxiety has been raised through the roof and with no cause because fear is a very powerful thing.
Hmm.
You can control people by bringing fear and instilling fear in them.
Yes,
And you can control their behaviors. You must do this, you must listen to me. And it's a very, very powerful, although it's disgusting
it
and
is. Yeah, people
unethical,
are vulnerable. They're seeking.
fear
Yeah.
can be that way. But
Hmm.
let's go the opposite route
Yes.
because back me up on this. Spirits are hysterical.
Yes.
Um, in my experience, I always like to bring some lightness and humor to an investigation, not being a clown, taking what we do seriously, but everybody that may have called us in, I want to put them at ease. So when these messages come through, because that's the question, right? Do we retain our character, our personality, our memories on the other side? And sometimes we have the most hysterical reactions. They do like a good laugh over there. It's not all,
Yes.
gloom, and they'll joke and play jokes on you and
Yes.
say some things. So I need you to back me up on this that sometimes in the course of what we do, and I'm sure what you do, you just got to stop and laugh hysterically at
Yes.
what's coming on.
Yeah. What's really fun is, like I told you, I just came off this audience of 30 people, which is a nice intimate feel.
Mm.
And my first reading right out of the gate, this uh, father comes through, and he comes in laughing, and he's like, I know I was a pain in the ass. And he was talking about what a pain in the ass he was. And he's laughing about it. And he's like, I know I drove you crazy, but you miss me now, don't you? That kind of energy. And I mean, she was like laughing and crying, the
Yeah.
things he was saying. I mean, spirit is pure light. We become pure light. That's why we seek it our whole lives. So pure light energy is joy and laughter and love. Yes, they are completely free from ego, but the imprint of their personality still exists. And that's the fun part.
Well, I think that would be important to take some burden off of loved ones.
Mm,
I think that is extremely important if they're capable of doing that. That it's like, listen, I know how my passing has affected you. And it makes me feel bad. You know, um, I'm glad everybody came to my wake. Don't get me wrong. It was great to see 100 people there. Um, but everything is okay. And I want to sneak in one more before I bring George in here, Brandie. Is there, other than I'm okay and I love you and, the things that I know that I'd want to pass along, in the years you've been doing this, is there anything else that's a common factor that you can say, this is what the deceased want the living to know? It
Mm,
might not be because everybody thinks they're going to, open the secrets of the cosmos or something, and everybody speaks all sorts of languages now, and you have all this. But, I love you and I'm okay. I grant that. Is there anything else there that you've seen that's important
yes.
to pass along?
I when asking that, the first interaction that comes forward is I have so many experiences where when loved ones were going through their life review. So when we cross over, that tunnel of light that they speak of in near death experiences, that is the tunnel of going backwards in time from today until the day you were born. And so you look back, it's almost like images or photos. And spirit, I've channeled this so many times where they start with today, yesterday, the day before that, and they just keep moving back in time and they're assessing every action of their lives. And they're asking, did I fulfill what I signed up for? Did I do it? Can I
Mhm.
check that shit off my list? And the things that they regret, the things that feel unfinished, they process in that conscious being. And so there are times when loved ones come in and they want to clear the air and let you know, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I made a mistake. Thank you for forgiving me. I mean, whatever it is that they wanted to clear the air with, it's more of an acknowledgement of their faults. And so I will jokingly say, I feel sometimes like I'm the pastor that's in the confession box because
Right.
I'm hearing like the
Right.
parts of them that couldn't quite get over, like, you know what, I really messed that up.
Yeah.
And I acknowledge it and I'm sorry and thank you for forgiving me. And most times, and this is what spirit has explained to me, so every interaction creates what's called an ethereal cord, or it's an etheric cord. It's a cord of energy. So you and I can now, we have a cord of energy because we're exchanging energy. I'm giving my energy to you, you're giving it to me, we're giving it to the audience. We're all connecting a cord of energy right now.
Mhm.
And the more we connect, the stronger those cords become. And so relationships such as like, a mother and a child, that's not just a cord of energy, that's like a tree trunk. And so the more we exchange, the more we, accept from others, the more we give to others in those relationships. When someone crosses over, that part of you that you gave dies with them. And that's what grief is. It's the part of you that died with your loved one that they
Mhm.
took with you. Okay. This is what spirit has explained to me. And so mutually, like what they gave to you, sometimes that's the unfinished business. And so they're trying to heal that within you. They're trying to heal the cord. Like they're at peace. Okay. But they want you, the living, to know, you know what? I acknowledge that I made that mistake, that I hurt
Right.
you. So I would say that's, and it's not every reading that happens. It's very specific. It will come with, like I said, that undertone, but it will be around something very specific. Perhaps um, someone discovered later in life that, and I'm getting this a lot lately from all those DNA tests where people discover that, oh my gosh, my mom never told me that, that wasn't my biological father, or,
Right. Sure.
and so, I'm getting a lot of that lately. People discovering their, feeling as if they had like a false life and, did mom know or did she not know? Or I'm getting a lot of that lately, but so yeah, it's almost like being in confession sometimes.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how I feel about that. I guess on the one hand, it's great that it's emotional.
Yeah.
because when you first said that, I'm like, oh, I never went to the Grand Canyon. I regret that. I'm kind of glad that those type of things aren't the most important things because they shouldn't be. You know, that's fascinating though, and you got a lot of hearts being sent to you in chat right now because I think you reached some people on that. But for right now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my colleague in here, George, and let him spend some time with you. And I'll be back a little bit later on. Thank you, Brandie.
Thank you. Oh, no audio, George.
That's right. I put on mute. I was
There you
coughing earlier. Thank you, Ken. Our very special guest tonight, Brandie Wells, broadcasting from her office at the Guggenheim. Uh, Thank you for joining us. She's got about $300,000 worth of paintings on the wall behind her.
go. Okay. Okay. You want the truth? I
Go
got
ahead.
I got that. Okay. I used to flip antiques. I loved flipping antiques. I love psychometry, the energy of objects. And this painting behind me, that is Diana the Huntress, but it's done by an art student in France. I had researched it, but I found it in an old barn. The guy let me buy it for $200.
And have you ever had it appraised?
No, but it is a real painting. But it was done by an art student in France, and when I looked it up, it's over 100 years old. So kind of cool.
Wow.
But see, I find stuff like that. If you had ever been to my store, I have a 5,000 square foot metaphysical store in Keene, New Hampshire called Shadow and Soul Emporium and Tea Lounge. And the shadow side is all of my like oddities, the witchy Wiccan side. And that's where I have a lot of haunted paintings, haunted art, haunted dolls, taxidermy. Yeah. I love finding those things, and they find me. Those things find me. So,
You're about to start your own haunted museum here any moment.
yes.
I want to, because so many of our subscribers, our viewers, are, if not enthusiasts of the paranormal, they are within themselves investigators. As a matter of fact, last Monday we had a sensational time with a group of our Patreon members doing a remote view of the museum in Key West where Robert the Doll is uh, is featured, and they were very, very successful in what it is that they do. But I wanted advice from you for them
Hmm.
in the aspects of what I call abilities on the fly.
Yep.
When they're investigating, and I 100% agree with you in the sense that the gift is like a muscle that you have to exercise and use more
Yes.
and more often. The more that you do, the better you get at it.
Hmm.
Um, what is it that they should be seeking out and also avoiding when they're doing an investigation and they want to open themselves up during these? And I want to, on the other side of your answer, I want to encapsulate something that I've seen people experience that
Yeah.
is kind of frustrating to me. But go ahead.
So, first of all, I just want clarification. This is remote viewing, correct?
That's remote viewing, correct?
So, I'm a
Well,
hypnotist.
and no, in this case, what I'm talking about are people who actually go to physical locations to
Oh, they're
investigate.
going to it. Okay. Well,
Correct.
either way, I will tell you that I'm a hypnotist. I became a hypnotist because I learned that I was self hypnotizing in order to connect to the spirit realm. And when I open myself, I go into trance mediumship or trance healing. So, in order to truly and authentically connect, you really have to go into a higher state of being in order to receive downloads from spirit. So, when I teach people how to channel or, even demonstrate mediumship, working telepathically, all the different clairs, you really have to be grounded, clear, open, and protected. And I open myself in a chant, um, and I'll share that with you real quick if you want.
Sure.
So I'm just going to go through, and I'm just, first of all, letting my higher self know that I'm not opening myself to spirit right now, but I am doing this for demonstration purposes. So I call in a sacred space, and I just ask everyone to just come into a space of being grounded, clear, open, and just take a deep breath. That breath reminds you that your body is here. And I want you to imagine, just see yourself as a big, mighty oak tree pushing your roots deep down into the earth, allowing that white light from the heavens. Just feel it entering your crown, filling your being completely, all the way down into those roots. And you become a conduit between heaven and earth. And I am the same. And then we call in a clearing. So let go of the chaos of the world, the chaos within. So you're truly, authentically here in this moment. And so then we call in your higher self. I always work with the archangels. I ask them to be present as we receive messages in the highest good. And then I ask the ancestors, guardian angels, spirit guides, ascended masters, gods and goddesses to assist. And then imagine a bridge between my heart and those I am assisting. And in the middle is where it guides me to exchange message. And so it is. And that's what I do to open myself to spirit.
Look
And
what you did to the background during that whole session. You
wow,
made it. Look at the background now. It's all moving around, all from you.
what is what is that about?
Something transcendental. I don't know.
Okay, I'm like, my eyes were closed, so I'm like, I don't know when you changed that. You're funny. Okay, so that is a chant to open yourself to spirit. And I feel that if you're going to invoke spirit, you need to create a sacred space, set boundaries, and be clear about your intention. And that is when you can truly channel or funnel that energy. So it's not all over the place. It's clear, it's intentional, and spirit knows that you're quote unquote on.
So, in a sense of what people will initially experience, and we can talk first from the physiological. They feel the goosebumps, or they feel what could be a physical contact. They can't really explain it. Any of those should be the point to initiate that kind of getting yourself rooted and start to dig deeper into what it is that they're experiencing.
Yes.
Not break out the recorder and the SLS camera and the flashlight, but connect.
Yes. Yeah. When I investigate, I love tools. They validate what you're experiencing, but your body is the best tool. And when I lead investigations or work with groups, I will have everyone ground their energy. I'll pull them into that space, and I bring them through a guided experience of tuning into the energy in the room, inviting in spirit. I ask them to look into the eyes of spirit that steps forward. I ask, what name are you hearing? What are you feeling? What are the emotions? Do they have a story? I mean, I go through a whole series of questions. And then it's really fascinating because I will then hear people have very similar experiences. Like, I was connecting to a little girl that came to me, or someone says, I saw this blonde girl and she said her name was blah, blah, blah. And so that's where we start realizing, like, okay, some of us are starting to connect to some energies. So let's see if we can work with the equipment, ask them to, can you turn on that flashlight, or can you say your name through the spirit box, or so tools should be validating the human experience of channeling. That's my opinion. But I go in as a clairvoyant, as a psychic medium. It's different than someone who comes in with the more left-brained approach. Yeah.
Am I out of my depth when we've gone and done investigations with different people at different locations, and while doing that, um, people all of a sudden have an emotional change, and so sometimes also physiological, a headache, a stomach ache,
Mm-hmm.
the throat starts to hurt. an immense amount of sadness, silliness, the need to sing, so many different variations on this. And their first instinct is flight.
Yes.
Get out of there. I've always been a proponent of that's the most raw initial connection that you could have with spirit, and you're breaking it by leaving.
Yes.
Do you agree on that?
Yes.
How do they move forward from that fear factor? How do they break that pattern to be able to get past that initial raw connection?
Yeah. That is such a good question. I personally, when when I'm working with others at investigations, or opening myself in that way in small groups, um, I always remind people that you are allowing spirit to work through you in order to tell a story. So you are going to feel those sensations. I guess I would say that it's important to remember that spirit, these were once humans like you and I. They don't become negative or bad, and they only can exist within the energy of living energy. So they either have to work through the living, or through electronics, through the energy around us. And so if you're going to open yourself as that tool, be ready to feel the sensations. So I think it's more of a learning, to let go, allow, and trust the process. But that comes with time. When I was young and I was open, I was terrified at the experiences I was having. I thought when people pray, that your loved ones came to you, and so I started becoming afraid to pray, because I thought that's, when you pray, that's what I would experience, is all of a sudden my grandmother would come to me, and then it scared me because I was praying and she would come to me. And then I started learning, even as a child, that I was in control of that. I was the one who was asking her to come to me. And so she will respect my boundaries. And, I learned at a young age about the boundaries with spirit. So, I guess it just takes time and practice and trust. And to be able to take it to that next level, to allow spirit to tell a story. It's so important, to slow down with it.
Sure. Repetition is the mother of skill. If you wanted to take up piano, you're going to go to somebody who plays piano, who knows how to play piano. They're seasoned enough to be able to be an instructor, to be a teacher. And it would fall under the same category, I would imagine. I mean, you could take the the hard road and just keep practicing, because somebody at the beginning didn't have any kind of tutorage, and they had the gift, and they had to learn vis-a-vis mistakes, things that they had that worked and didn't work. But there are so many that are out there, and I know you talked about the ones that are fakes, the ones that are imitators, but
Mm,
there are so many gifted people out there
yes.
that they should, almost as an obligation, take on Padawans, if you will, people who, have that gift but don't know how to utilize that to the best of their ability. We're
Mm,
missing that in this field, I think, a lot, aren't we?
yeah, I agree. And, I find investigating to be a great place for that. It's a social, comfortable environment, to be with others. And what better place to learn than a paranormal playground, going to a haunted house, to learn your abilities. So I find that to be, primetime TV for spirit, really.
Yeah, this is one of the wonderful things when we do the remote viewing. People are in the comfort of their own home. They could step back from it. When you are in a haunted asylum or a haunted prison or hospital, um, your other four senses, you know, they take over, because you're looking at a lot of the times when you're finding yourself immersed in that, your imagination runs wild. And when you are at least doing a remote viewing, you can focus on the energies and not the atmosphere surrounding the energies. And even that can present its own risks in the sense of people's imagination running away with them. So, we're doing the best that we can from our end virtually through the computer, but there are people that need to be out there in the field, such as what you're doing. And when you are able to ascertain somebody in the group is having those abilities, you can hold them, grab them by the reins, and say, now take this step, this step, and kind of guide them along the way. Have you had that experience already?
Yeah, I have. I also lead a group in my store because I have a tea lounge, and I gather people, and once a month we meet people who are trying to develop their abilities, whether it be mediumship, telepathic, psychic abilities. And Thursday night, I think it was. Yeah, I had a group, and we decided to try practicing mediumship, and everyone was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm ready for that." And I said, "You know what? You need to just trust this process." And so we had everyone just pause for a moment and just tune in to different people. And I said, "Okay, so what are you feeling right now? What are you picking up on?" And someone said, "Oh, I'm picking up on a man, and he has white hair, and he's standing on your left side." And she starts going, and she's like, but I don't do mediumship. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I know. And I said, "No, you know what you're doing." So it's more about like trusting what you're receiving,
Yes.
and just taking that confidence and validation. So what people don't realize is like validation is a flow of energy. It's the flow of acceptance. So when you go to a reader, and I've heard before people say like, "Oh, the best readers, they don't need validation, or they don't need," and it's like, you know what, I don't need it, but it certainly helps with the flow of energy, because when you accept what I'm receiving because I'm seeing it, feeling it, hearing it, you are opening the flow of spirit. So when someone says, "Yes, yes, I recognize the man with the white hair on my mother's side," and then I'll say, "And what else are you feeling when you connect to this person?" So I think the validation is helpful. And so I have coached people through the mediumship experience, even in paranormal setting, asking, those senses, like, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Close your eyes and trust what's coming through. Don't, the fear of failure, I think, is our biggest, being afraid to be wrong.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it is.
Uh-huh.
I I think that we are at the top to take a. Can you stay with us a little longer, Brandy?
I can stay a little bit longer, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we'll forego the break then, because the break's about 5 minutes long, so we don't do that with you. So let me just end it off with this part because I thought it's interesting. You blow my mind what you're talking about there because in the past, it's been a while, but we were doing something that was called collective consciousness experiments, different locations. And talking about the validating, it just kind of all these different uh, bells and whistles went off in my head as I'm listening to you say that because one of the things we did in those, there'd be 10 to 12 people on average. And once we got them into that meditative state to connect with the spirit, and you would get one or two that were bold enough to say, "Yes, while we had the spirit here, here's what they look like, here's what they said, here's what their history, the story they were showing us." And then the quiet ones. I didn't wanna say anything, but because they didn't trust themselves.
Yes. Uh-huh.
They didn't trust what they were experiencing. And so having the group together and share it kinda took away that, judgment because
Yes.
they were all participating in that. So I thought that was very fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I took up too much of your time, but I appreciate it. Ken, I'll bring you back on, sir, if there's anything more that you wanted to add, because we don't want to keep her past any time. that make it uncomfortable for her. So go ahead.
No, Brandy, if you have to go, the password will be get lost. When you say get lost, then we'll stop what we're doing. I just want, I just want to say real quick, Stephen Naomi Clark, if you're watching this
Love Steve.
tonight, if you're watching this tonight, subscribe. You better subscribe to our channel because I'll check. They are longtime friends. Rise Up New Hampshire, right?
Yeah,
That's how we got together. I
people.
have a quick question for you because we do have three questions, and
Yes.
I promise we get to them.
Yep.
I have a case next Saturday in New York, Brandy, and I was talking to, and I'm not giving anything away here. I was talking to the client, if you will, and she had said at this point she didn't know who to turn to. She found us somewhere. I'm glad she did. She has been in contact with three psychic mediums because she didn't know where else to go. And some recommended, saging and smudging and crystals. And she said she was very confused by all the information that she was getting. One visited her at the home, and the other two, I guess, I'm not sure what the mode of communication was. If someone had come to you and said, I don't know who to turn to, or maybe I don't trust those ghost hunters because I watch TV and they're all a bunch of clowns, which is unfortunate, but sometimes I don't blame people. If they had said that there were three mediums in there ahead of you, how would you handle a situation like that? Would the red flags be going off? Or is it just it's more important to help you, or would you kind of set some guardrails and boundaries up here before you decided that you were going to take that on?
Well, the reason I would be the red flags are going off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
uh, because a lot of times people are struggling with their own, and I don't know the situation,
Right.
but the reality is that sometimes we are not in the best place emotionally, mentally.
Yep.
And so it would make me question what's going on with that person. So I personally would want to really tune into their energy to find out if they are in a good, clear mindset and that their energy is grounded. But I will tell you, this situation that you're referring to, the message that I'm getting is there is a male energy that is attached to her, not the home. That she does need a clearing, a cleansing of her energy, and that she could anchor this energy outside the home because it's not attached to the home.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hearing that a ritual would be in place to anchor this energy outside the home for her to clear. But she also doesn't believe in her own ability to clear or cleanse this. And so part of it is, we become what we believe. Fear manifests fear. And she also really needs to hear that she is capable of healing and clearing this energy from her home and from her body,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm hearing she's just manifesting more of it from her own fear.
She's giving it a lot of attention right
Yes.
now because she got two small children. It's the kind of story that you want to get involved in. They got two small children. They've only lived there 4 months. She is a college educated woman.
Yeah.
Just, you know what I mean? It's not. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to keep you on speed dial for this one.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. There's also an issue with high EMF in her home, and that's also feeding the energy. So I'm hearing to check all the major outlets, find out
right.
where the power source is, because I'm hearing that it's right under where there's like this portal of energy, almost like feeding off, but it's feeding off of her.
Mm-hmm.
She is the source. So
And
I am hearing that it's resolved by January. So I don't know what you're doing, but I do.
I would hope so. There are two main questions, Brandy. Who are you and what do you want? At the end of the day, that's
Yeah.
It really always comes down to that. But this was a home that was built in 1961. This isn't one of those 17.
No,
Just to let, I mean, 61, 61's a long time ago, I think. But it just goes to show that everything isn't a Victorian mansion.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some questions. I have one from Celine here, real quick. Do you have tried people to help them quit smoking? I'm desperately trying to quit so I can have my operation.
I will tell you, yes, I do. I do it by Zoom. I find it to be the most effective way. I helped 53 people successfully quit smoking last year in group hypnosis, which is under $100. I saw that she said she paid like $600 to have. But hypnosis is voluntary. You can only be hypnotized if you want to quit or want the experience. So if you wanted it and you were a willing participant, it is a successful method. My method is different than most hypnotists, where I'm replacing an old habit with a new habit that's healthy. And so I do have some requirements for that, and they're not big asks. They are a water bottle that has a straw, and you have to get rid of all smoking paraphernalia everywhere and replace it with where you would put your bottle of water. So, but I have helped many people quit smoking.
There you go. Celine, who's a dear friend of ours, get a hold. She can help you.
Yeah. And
Because
I do want it too in the winter months too, group hypnosis, and it's I usually, I think it's only like $55. And it's recorded so people can listen to it over and over again. My grandmother was a smoker.
yeah,
And so that is, it's really important to me that I make that affordable for people. And, the recording and everything goes out so you can.
Brandie is on this earth to help people. We told you that at the top of the show. So Celine, get a hold of her. We love Celine. We want you to be around for a long time. Mary Beth asks, can you sense animals that have passed on?
Yes, I love
That
animals.
is a very, very common question. That
I communicate with animals all the time. This past group session that I just had this evening, I connected to someone's dog. He was a lab cross, and he had some hip issues, and he was an old man dog. I saw his like white hair on his face, and he was so sweet and so happy. And he was talking about his favorite food that he loved, and it was some rice thing she'd cook up. And so, yes, I love communicating with animals, both living and in spirit. When they're living, it's usually because they're naughty. Or they have health issues going on, but animal communication is fun.
well, if you love dogs, then we can be friends. That's the
Oh my
way I
gosh.
look at it. Yeah. And this is a great last question to end on, and perfect tie into everything. What's the most important lessons you've learned as a psychic medium?
I would say that I am a student to spirit. And every time I open myself to spirit, I learn something new, not just about spirit, but myself. I surprise myself often with the information and downloads that I receive. So it is important to be a student to spirit, to always be open and learning. So thank you for the question.
Okay, excellent. So now that it's been 8 years, now we've got you. So now we've got you, and I owe you one. So in the future, until you decide to put a restraining order on us, I'll be asking you to come back.
Well, I've enjoyed it. I love your show layout. It's actually really cool. I love it.
You.
You got a great show.
Thank you.
Yeah, a good audience.
It's all about the wonderful guests.
Yes, definitely.
I want to thank you again, Brandie, for joining us tonight. Wish you the happiest of holidays and the best of a new year. And as Ken said, we will absolutely be in touch with you again. Come on back. We've got a ton more questions for you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
stick
much.
around to our audience. We're going to talk about what's coming up in the next 3 or 4 weeks here. So, Brandie, thank you.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
I just booked 2 places, and I was just thinking your audience would love it. And I'm not big on like marketing advertising. So, but I just want them to know that I'm at the SK Pierce Victorian Mansion January 31st. And also, oh, hi, Jane. On January 31st, if you want to join me, it's an overnight. It's the first formal overnight that I'm able to have. And then also, I am in Enfield at the Enfield Shaker Museum for an investigation. I'm really excited about that one as well. Damn, you are so good at this.
Telling you.
But I'm really excited about that one too, because I did a mini investigation about a month ago, and it was only about an hour, and it was off the hook. I cannot believe the evidence we were getting. It just was phenomenal. So thank you for letting me share that with your audience. I would love to meet some of them.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, we were ready for you tonight.
Awesome. You are good. Oh my God.
Always be prepared.
Yeah.
Work with Brandie. She's wonderful with her attendees. And thank you so much for reaching out to me. This was so much fun. If we had 3 hours, we'd have a telethon.
Well, thanks again, you guys. Yeah.
Thank you. Have a great night. Take care.
Happy holidays.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
All
right, guys. That does it for our show tonight. Again, as a reminder, Town Hall tomorrow night, 8 p.m. on Patreon. If you are not yet a Patreon member, just simply go to patreon.com/Dead Air Paranormal. Also, if you are not on our Discord, please join us on Discord, Discord/Dead Air Full Spectrum Hosts.
Can we talk a little bit about what's upcoming here, George, before we sign off?
I don't even know what's upcoming, Ken. Tell me.
Surprise, surprise. Well, next week we are working diligently to have our annual Christmas show where everybody, all the participants, all of our Dead Air family gets on screen at once, dresses in their Christmas finest and their ugliest sweaters. And we all come on and just have a chat about the year past. We did that last week. It's not so much a retrospective as much as just all of us sitting down, having a cup of coffee with you, answering questions. We may or may not take the 28th off because of Christmas, but when we come back in January, on January 4th, we're going to welcome Adam Shefts to the show. No, not the congressman, but a gentleman known as the Victorian historian who's going to be talking to us about paranormal investigation in the Victorian age, burial practices, attitudes about death. So if you are a history geek like we are, you'll enjoy this. And I've also confirmed January 11th, Christian Stepien.
My birthday falls on a Sunday this coming year?
Yeah, January 11th, Christian Stepien, who is the Chief Technology Officer at the National UFO Reporting Center, will be joining us that night.
We're starting off big next year.
So if you are not familiar with New Fork, they have the absolute best UFO database in the world. And we're going to talk about how that all came to be. I am jealous. I wish we had something like they have in the paranormal field. But hey, the Bigfoot Research Organization has one, but New Fork is just absolutely phenomenal. They have a phenomenal database. And we're going to talk a lot about that. So stick around with us in the upcoming year. We got some things planned for you.
Like, share, subscribe, hit that reminder bell. And you guys are, as always, are awesome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is George Lopez, with me, Mr. Ken DeCosta. You've been watching a live broadcast on Dead Air Full Spectrum. We'll see you guys next time. Patreon members, we'll see you tomorrow night at 8. Take care.
Bye, y'all.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, big